All right, you already? Shalom, Shalom, Israel. I want to start by giving all glory and praises to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. I'm the brother I'm one for down to Florida from the Camp Props of Babylon. Come on, another quick hit to the Spirit Power by YAHAWASHI. Lord one to edify and feed the sheep. Double honors to the elders and apostles of MILLSTONE, teach you well. Peace and blessings to the brothers who push this work in true sincerity to the scattered abroad. Once again, double honors to the elders and apostles of MILLSTONE, teach you well. Peace and blessings to the brothers who push this work in true sincerity to the scattered abroad. All right. Once again, come with another Lord one edifying lesson. All right, that we just recently want to speak on. We just recently heard about. There is a government shutdown, man. All right, and this government shutdown is to affect millions of people. All right, but specifically, all right, the blacks, okay, and those that are those communities. You see, because if this shutdown go fully through, all right, there is going to be some benefits, all right, government assistance, and things like that that's going to be affected. Okay, and we told you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American. We told you, we see what's going on with no other kingdom, man. With these ICE and the things that they're doing to them. All right, now they're coming for you, so-called Negroes. Okay, they're coming for you, Jakes, man. All right, and ultimately they're about to attack you in the most difficult positions, okay, and worst situations ever that you could ever imagine, man. Okay, they're about to put you in these predicaments. They're about to come at you in these predicaments. All right, when you least suspect it. We're talking about Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. All right, a clever, cunning devil. All right, himself is about to come down on you, so-called Negroes, man. Okay, you Jakes, you Israelites, man. All right. All right, and then with these type of things happening, all right, this is just another foot towards of Esau showing his horns, okay, because they're making it known. I'm about to read this article, all right, really touching points on how it's going to affect you, okay, because there is a lot of benefits that Jake have been receiving over the last how long, who knows how long, time period. From Esau, man. He's been supplying you so-called Negroes so much. You niggas have got lazy, man. All right, you niggas can't even get up and go do certain things for yourself. Even, speaking, on Eve, man. Starting with her ass, man. All right, Eve get all the benefits, all the assistance, all the government financial support. You see. And now you're having another government shutdown that's possibly going to affect your households. This is what happens when you trust an Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, and his system. It says, read this in the article, and we're going to go through scriptures and close it out a little when you're edified. But this is in the news break, all right, which it says News One. All right, this is the article. It says, what does a government shutdown mean for black people? Okay, and it says, for the first time in 6 years, the federal government has officially shut down after Congress failed to pass a full funding bill for fiscal year, okay, 2026. Okay, and I want to grab the word fiscal, all right, on Merriam-Webster, okay.
Fiscal.
It says fiscal. All right, it says relating to revenues, all right, public debt, or relating to financial matters. So, revenue stamp. So these certain things, is when they renew the year, when they're about to give out those certain benefits and things like that. All right, so to speak, it says it is unclear how long the shutdown will last. But we've seen this tense moment before. The most recent government shutdown lasts from December 22nd, 2018 to January 25th, 2019. It says 35 days under the Trump administration. And we got this guy Trump in the seat, and ever since he's gotten the seat, things have been going left. And this is the quote unquote guy that's supposed to be coming with peace and safety. This is what the scriptures tell you. Never trust our enemy, man. All right. If he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly. You know, and in the end, he will show his wickedness. It says, making it the longest in U.S. history. It says, here's everything we know about the current shutdown and what could happen for Black Americans if both sides don't reach agreement soon. So this is not affecting the so-called whites, you know, the so-called Indians, you know, the so-called Arabs, you know, the list goes on and on. This is going to affect the so-called Negroes, okay, Latinos, all right, and Native Americans, and predominantly you Jakes, okay, you Negroes, man, because Jake is the one that you know run to Daddy Esau, all right. You run to your Daddy Esau for you know whatever it might be. You know, this is why when this system crumbles and crashes, all right, you know, when it crashes and it crumbles, you're gonna be hit, you know, across your damn head, man. All right, a steel pipe, bow, you know, across the head. It's gonna hit you hard. In other words, man, because you trust in Esau, Edom so much, you have forgotten, all right, to call upon your power, YAHAWASHI. You know, now give or take, you have just complete bird brains, man. You know, just, you know, ignorant and don't want to listen. You know, and those that, you know, just can just be hard-headed and stiff-necked, they gonna see why, you know, you should never trust in Esau, Edom, okay, the so-called white man and his system. All right, but we're going to read a little bit. It says, jump down. It says, a government shutdown means federal agencies must cease all non-essential operations until Congress approves a funding package. So they come to an agreement what they're going to be able to, you know, give out from that treasury. It says, as we've previously reported, now that the September 30th deadline has passed, the U.S. government has officially begun its new fiscal year, which means funding for all government operations from the previous year has expired. These shutdowns can impact millions, especially Black people. So yeah, some other people there it get affected by this on these, you know, assistance. But especially you so-called Negroes, man. You know, you keep thinking it's a game and these devils going to show you their horns. All right? It says, who are disproportionately affected by disruptions to programs like STAMP, daily, it says delayed federal worker paychecks, and stalled HBCU, which meaning it says funding, which meaning it's let me see, because I had it pulled up here. I believe it goes into colleges. Yeah, here it is. It says historical Black colleges and universities. You see, so it's going to affect you, all right, really bad. You know, in this sense, man. Okay, and it said disproportionately. All right, so you're gonna be the one that's getting the shitty end of the stick. You see, and this is what's coming during this time of this shutdown. You see, once again, they have no date, no time, or how long it's gonna be. And the last one lasted almost, quite some time. All right, because it said from December 22nd, 2018 to January 25th of 2019. So that's quite some time, man. You know, and the way that you have with, Trump being in the seat, you know, he could take this thing further than what it is suspected. All right, but that's the point on that. I'm gonna grab these scriptures. Okay, Slakia for the, going into it like that, man. But the point had to be made. Okay, I don't want to make it too long, but the point is that you niggas, man. Okay, you gonna stop one way or another counting on this devil, man. Okay, rather it be him scripting you to you bear of nothing. All right, or until you just put down and 6 feet under, man. You gonna learn one way or another, man. Okay, and you gonna know you was warned through the spirit power by YAHAWASHI. All right, because these devils not joking around, man. All right, let's see. Let's grab Isaiah. Let's grab this Isaiah 30:1. It says, "Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord YAHAWASHI, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin." Right? Jake don't want to, Jake don't want to listen, man. All right, they don't want to change. All right, they don't want to take heed. They don't want to, they don't want to make those necessary adjustments, man. Okay, they want to continue and building that sin upon sin, man. All right, and there is a repercussion for that. All right, there is consequences for that. Okay, it says, verse 2, that walk to go down into Egypt and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Right, and you got a lot of our people who count on these things when it comes to support, Medicaid, life insurance, benefits, assistance, government, financial, aid, the whole list. They count on it. I mean, they depend on it. Some Jake just can't even, take care of their households or nothing without, them, pleading and begging to these devils, to give them some type of help. Jake be all kind of jacked up in all kinds of different situations, and they'll be right at the damn office, of these, big companies, beating at the doors like, we need our assistance, we need this, we need that. They are fiending for it in a way, man. Instead of coming to Yahawah by YAHAWASHI. They can't even put down pork or shrimp or lobster, all right, to get right with the Lord. But they'll go give up whatever it could be, whatever they need to give up. Jake be ready to take another Jake life for those assistants, man. They'll be willing to do anything. What the scripture says, for the love of money. Okay, they're willing to do it all for what they want to receive on this side. And that's even down to the even down to the smallest of Jake, man. They be, hey, man, look, we gotta live, we gotta survive. You see, but Jake's still taking the wrong route. It says verse 3, and that's even going to Eve, man. Eve never wanted baby, the government, my baby daddy. Soon the government about to smack you across your head, man. Soon he about to show you he ain't got nothing for you. He finna leave you out here stranded with nothing real soon. And then you gonna come running and seeking them. We gonna see them, okay? We're gonna see how you come then. But it continues, says, verse 3, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame. And that's the reason why you gonna come back running. That's why Jake gonna come back trying to, seek that help and see what's going on when it comes to the what we've been talking about. All right, starting from the elders and apostles, great millstone and down. When it comes through the spirit of power, Yahawah by YAHAWASHI, they're gonna be coming and seeking. What happened? What was y'all saying that before? They gonna come and they ain't gonna get no answer. It's gonna be a shame unto them that damn, man, they're gonna be in great trouble. It says, in the trust in the shadow of Egypt, your confusion. You're going to be out here confused and shame and lost. They got a saying, a lost ass nigga. You're going to have Jake out here lost, man. Waiting on sudden destruction. Okay? That's what happened when you trust in these benefits on Esau's side. He has no good thing for you. It says, let's grab this in Psalms. I believe it's Psalms 50. Psalms 55, verse 21. It said the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were there drawn swords. So let it be something this devil be telling you, and you'll think it's all good and gravy until he turn around and show you his horns. He did that with Northern Kingdom. He was giving them and supplying them with all kind of benefits, assistance. You had when Joe Biden was Sleepy Joe when he was in the seat. He was supplying them. They're coming out, oh, yeah, give him this, give him that. And then this thing, he turned around. You had Trump who got in the seat and shows you his horns. And both of them are Edomites, man. Both of them are a part of that, that wickedness that's ruling this earth today. Going back to their forefather Esau, okay? They are a part of that seed line. So it ain't gonna stop them from being ultimately the wicked, man. So I said, if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly. Matter of fact, we'll grab that. Let me see. It's in, I believe, Ecclesiastes, in the book of Sirach, chapter 14. Jumping down, it says, Ecclesiastes known as Sirach, chapter 14, verse 7. And if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly, and at the last he will declare his wickedness. So, whether it was now or later, this devil is going to declare his wickedness, man. Okay, and that's just in his heart's intentions. Okay, this devil is accustomed to do wickedness. That's why he's ruling in wickedness, and he's been ruling in wickedness. You see, and this is all coming from them not being able to come to some agreements on, this funding. You see what the scripture says of a house. Let me see. Just like it, bear with me. Shall not stand. I believe that's how I go. Let me see. All right, here we go. I'm gonna get it in the NLT and in the KJV as well. Well, this is the KJV. It says, this is Matthew chapter 12, verse 26. It says, and if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? All right, we're going to get this in the NLT, all right, where it says a little bit more straight to the point. It says, this is NLT. It says, and if Satan is casting out Satan, he is divided and fighting against himself. His own kingdom will not survive. All right. And this is why you have these government shutdowns, because Esau is amongst himself bickering with each other, man. OK, these guys can't come to a Democrat, Republican, can't come to an agreement. All right. On certain things, it just starts to crumble. And this is not a coincidence. This happened right on the Day of Atonement, man. You see? So these is all good signs of showing that, we are at the end of this thing, man. All right. Esau's kingdom is crumbling. They're fighting. All right. They can't come to an agreement. All right. It's just a shit show, man. But I'm going to grab this in the article. All right. Going into it because, it expounds more on it, man. It says, I'm going to jump down. Let me see. It says, these shutdowns can impact millions, especially black people who are disproportionately affected by disruptions to programs like stamps, delayed federal work paychecks, and installed HBCU funding. Sadly, almost immediately after the deadline passed, Republicans and Democrats began pointing fingers like children. Okay, I believe the scriptures speak about that. Like children, okay, ruling over us. All right, I believe I forgot what it's like. That lead my people to err. Let me see if I can grab that. Lead to err. So, lucky, bear with me. It says Isaiah 3:12. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy path. So like children, okay, all right, children are their oppressors. So they like children, all right, amongst each other, pointing finger. You did it. You did it. And that's what it's come down to. This is who's ruling earth, the wicked, man. It says Republicans argue and Democrats simply need to agree to extend current funding for another 7 weeks. So Republicans argue that the Democrats simply need to, agree to extend the current funding for another 7 weeks. But those Democrats ain't going for it. It says, but that proposal has been met with aversion. Okay, and that word aversion, let's grab that word aversion. Okay, let me see. It said aversion. I believe I had it typed up. Because they ain't going for it, man. At this point, they don't want to fund you niggas no more, man. All right, they want to start putting restrictions. They want to start changing this shit up. Okay, excuse my French. All right, but this is what they want to do. They tired of giving you freely benefits. They want to see you get up and work for it. Let me see if it come out for me. You know what? I'm gonna just click on this and see if what it gives me. Let me see it. Okay, here we go. This is in the Merriam-Webster. Webster. All right, it's like it. It says aversion, a feeling of let me see what this is. Repugnance. So a feeling of repugnance towards something with a desire to avoid or turn from it. It says a dislike, a settled dislike. Okay, so they like, yeah, listen, we turn that down, we turn that away. All right, we ain't doing that. So they'd already met the terms with telling them we already denied that. What you asking? It says Democrats are pushing for, now this is Democrats, says Democrats are pushing for the funding bill to include an extension of Enhanced Affordable Care Act premium. It says subsides. Let me see, let's grab that word. This the word right here.
Subsidy.
Oh, subsidy. So the water. Call it BAHASHAM. So subsidy. Okay, so subsidy, which is it says a grant or a gift of money. So it says Democrats are pushing for the funding bill to include an extension of Enhanced Affordable Care Act premium subsidy and to reverse certain changes to Medicaid made earlier this year as a part of Trump's tax overhaul, according to CNN and 19th News. So they really out at each other's neck on what should be allowed and what should not be allowed. But I'm gonna go ahead and grab this last precept. All right, I'm gonna close it out with this, okay? Because we know that in these times, all right, if you are trusting in Esau, man, you trusting in these things, man, all right, you're gonna be caught up with all the destructions that come with it. It says, let me see, and we're just going to get straight to the point. 2nd Ezra 9, and 2nd Ezra 9 and 9, and it reads, it says, then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. Right, you Jakes, man, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American, man. All right, all this time you had to change and get right with the YAHAWASHI and listen. All right, if why, because you didn't make those necessary adjustments, now you're gonna have to eat those consequences, man. All right, and that ain't gonna be a pretty sight. It says, verse 10, for such as in their life have received benefits. Once again, we're going into these benefits, man. Okay, because we're leading into a time of known as Jacob's trouble. All right, when those benefits run out, when these assistants run out, when all these things run out, that's all you're gonna have, man. Okay, if you don't got your YAHAWASHI, you're gonna be ass out of luck. Okay, you're gonna be, stuck somewhere, jacked up. All right, calling upon JC, calling upon whoever. All right, and not getting delivered out of those times, man. Not getting delivered out of these troubles. You see, and that's not what you want. You want to be able to call upon your power, man. You want to be able to call upon the true names of YAHAWASHI. Okay, who do you ignorantly call God, and who do you ignorantly call JC today? All right, but it says for such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me. Verse 11, they that have loathed my law, while they had yet liberty, which is the time you got liberty to make those adjustments, right? Those changes we spoke about earlier. And when as yet place of repentance, so you had the time to repent. In this grace period, you got a time to get right with YAHAWASHI. But Jake said what? Was opened unto them, understood not, but despised it. Instead, they despised it. They didn't want to listen. They didn't want to take heed. And we're going to have 2/3 of our people who aren't going to be, cooperating, all right, when it comes to these things, man. They ain't going to want to make no adjustment. They ain't going to want to do nothing. Because they're going to believe Esau, Edom got it all. They're going to believe that he going to make that necessary adjustment and fix their lives. They're going to believe that, man. Until this devil started to show their horns, which they about to show it, man. And they already starting there now. In verse 12 is the point. The same must know it after death by pain. So the same must know it after death by pain, man. So don't put your trust in these devils, man. Okay, don't put your trust in Esau, Edom. Okay, the so-called white man. Trust in YAHAWASHI, seek YAHAWASHI in these times while you still have the chance towards this grace. Because the doors of mercy are closing, man. Okay, this grace is getting closer and closer to where you're gonna have this opportunity no more, man. Okay, so Lord, when this lesson was edifying to you, I came out to seek Him on true sincerity. I'm gonna close it out by giving all glory and praises to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Once again, the Bible tells us the apostle be real, so we teach you well. Till next time, Shalom.